everyone, it's Cass. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna do the big book tag. I've just started this new booktube channel, and when I saw the big book tag, I was like, I have to do this one, because if there's any type of like introductory video of introducing myself to you all on booktube, it is the fact that I love big books. Big books do not scare me at all, and I wanted to showcase the big books that I have in front of me right now. So the way the tag works, I believe, is that you pick the 5 biggest books on your shelves that you have read, and then the 2 biggest books on your shelf that you have not read. And I have more than 2 books on my shelf that I haven't read. So that's just what we're gonna cover today. So let's get to it. Big book tag, here we go. I'm gonna go in the order of page number. So number 5 biggest book on my shelf that I have read is Inheritance by Christopher Paolini. This book is the 4th and final book of the Aragon series. This whole series came out, I think, when I was still in high school, and I was hooked on it. I followed it throughout like every single new book release. And originally, oh gosh, what is it called? The Inheritance Trilogy. It was supposed to be called the Inheritance Trilogy, and then it became the Inheritance Cycle when he realized that he had too much to say, and he ended up splitting his last book into 2 books. That was kind of like heart-crushing for me, because I was like, I thought we were gonna get the final chapter of the story. I thought we were gonna wrap this up. So he did end up splitting it into 4 books, and this is the 4th book, Inheritance. I thought it was a really great wrap-up to the series, and if you have never heard of the Inheritance Cycle, it is about a young boy. He was a boy when it started, I think like 14 years old, named Aragon, and he becomes a dragon rider. This is a young adult fantasy book, and he becomes the first dragon rider in like many years. There was like a fall of all the dragon riders. There was some inner conflict between the dragon riders and someone who thought they were better than the dragon riders. There was a whole world of elves and dwarves and magic. So it's definitely one of those kinds of books. I would say that it wasn't my favorite out of the entire cycle, just because this actually felt a little bit Return of the King-y to me. There were just some really strong parallels that I was like, I feel like I'm reading Return of the King again, especially in the way that it ended. Now I don't fault him for that. I still like the series as a whole. I come back to it every now and again, just if I'm interested in reading about some dragons. But this one, I don't remember what I ranked it as, but it was not my favorite of the series. The series as a whole was still top-notch. Okay, so this one, I didn't say how many pages this was. This came in at 843 pages. The next book, I don't think needs any introduction. It's a part of a book series about a young boy who discovers that he's a wizard. This is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, so I feel like everybody knows about this one. Love it, love it, love it. This is my second favorite book in the Harry Potter series. My first favorite book is Prisoner of Azkaban, and then this one. So this one comes in at 870 pages. This is one of the first editions. It's super old. You can see, you know, my cover is just like pretty much falling apart. And I feel like my sister has written all over this, like my sister from when she was younger and we were sharing books back in the day. We don't share books well. So she wrote all over my copy. That's book number 4 of the big books. Okay, and then this next book is another one that doesn't really need any sort of introduction. This is A Dance with Dragons by George R.R. Martin, the 5th book in the Song of Ice and Fire. And this one comes in at 959 pages, not including the appendices. And it took me the longest time to finish this book. I love the whole series. I read all of them. This one finally picked it back up for me after A Feast for Crows, was it? Yeah, after A Feast for Crows. That wasn't one of my favorite ones. And it took me a really long time to get through it, just because, I mean, y'all know, there's just so many characters and so many things to keep track of, that I put it down for a really long time, and then when I picked it back up, I was like, oh crap, I don't really remember anything. So this was actually the book that I brought with me on my honeymoon, and I was like, you are finishing this book. You have a beach, you have a cruise ship, you have nothing else to do aside from honeymoon stuff, but you're gonna finish this book. So that's what I did. I brought this book on my honeymoon, finished it, loved it. Okay, so this next book is actually one of my top 5 favorite books of all time. And then you're gonna see like a pattern. You're gonna see a pattern of some books in the rest of this video of the big book tag, but this is legitimately top five for me. This is The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. This comes in at 973 pages. You know how like you fall in love with a book and you recommend it to someone and you just want them to love every single part the way that you loved every single part? This is how I feel about Pillars of the Earth. When you hear about it, the synopsis is about this young builder, this young family, all these different characters, and they're coming together to build this cathedral. Like, that sort of premise just like doesn't sound like maybe it would be that appealing, but there's so much that happens in this book. There's romance, there's action, there's a lot of philosophical questions that they ask. I remember there was a character that something happened to him and I was so upset. I just like got up when I was reading as soon as this event happened, and I just like had to take a walk. I was so emotionally invested in this book. So this is one of my top 5 favorite books of all time, Ken Follett, Pillars of the Earth. And then the largest book on my shelf is A Breath of Snow and Ashes by Diana Gabaldon, and this comes in at 980 pages. This is the 6th book in her Outlander series. It follows the book Outlander, where this World War II combat nurse, ends up accidentally traveling back in time into the Scottish Highlands, and she's trying to get back, but she meets this group of people, she falls in love, there's romance, there's history, there's battles. I mean, this book series has it all. I was very invested in this series. So this is the 6th book in the series out of 8. Diana Gabaldon is currently writing book 9 in the series, and I am not very patient when I'm waiting for her to write the book. But this book actually, I felt picked back up, because I think books 1, 2, and 3 were spot on. 4 and 5 were kind of a lull, and then this book finally picked back up. So this was a surprise to me that this ended up being the largest book that I have on my shelf that I have read. Whew! Okay, so now let's move over to the largest books on my shelf that I haven't actually read yet. Let's start with the, I guess the shortest out of all of them. So this one is called Sarum, the Novel of England by Edward Rutherfurd. He has a ton of books out, and I bought a couple of them. I was kind of in this like half-price books, impulsive, compulsive book buying phase, and I just picked up like 5 of his books. This one says, in Sarum, Edward Rutherfurd creates a masterpiece of breathtaking scope that traces the entire turbulent course of English history. This rich narrative weaves a compelling saga of 5 families. As their fates and fortunes intertwine over the course of the centuries, their greater destinies offer a fascinating glimpse into the future. So I'm really into British literature. That was kind of my focus in college. So I just felt like this was an author that I had to pick up, but I haven't read it yet. This one comes in at 897 pages. Then, remember how I said with Ken Follett you're going to start seeing a trend? This is that time. So the next book that I have is World Without End. It is actually the sequel to Pillars of the Earth, which you would think, with how much I loved Pillars of the Earth, why haven't I read this one yet? Well, I mean, you see how big they are. And I just was like, yeah, I don't think I have the time to devote to that book yet. This one comes in at 1,014 pages. It says, 2 centuries after the townspeople of Kingsbridge finished building their exquisite Gothic cathedral, 4 children slip into the forest and witness a killing, an event that will braid their lives together by ambition, love, greed, and revenge. Ken Follett is such a lyrical writer. He does his legwork. And with some of the other authors in my have read pile, Diana Gabaldon, I love the story, but as far as like the self-editing process, it is not there. She tends to go on for the sake of going on. I feel like George R.R. Martin does that sometimes. Ken Follett, not a problem for him. So that's this one, World Without End by Ken Follett. And then the next books, these are the last, I guess these are the biggest ones that I have. I just decided to put them all in one stack and treat them as if they were the same thing. This is the Century Trilogy, also by Ken Follett. This includes Fall of Giants, that's book number 1. And then book number 2 is Winter of the World. And then book number 3 is Edge of Eternity. Edge of Eternity is definitely the largest book that I have on my shelf, read or not read. This is 1,098 pages. I started to read Fall of Giants, and I just didn't have the time to commit to it. Like I said, big books don't intimidate me, but I just didn't have the time to do it. But I really loved kind of the setup and how things got started. It follows these families throughout the major events of the 20th century. Whew, okay, big book tag. Like I said, I love big books. Love them, love them, love them. So I hope you enjoyed. If you have any big books that you would like to suggest to me, please leave them in the comment section below. And then what are your favorite big books that you have possibly read? You can follow me on all of my social media where I hope to start a conversation about. So you can find me on Goodreads, Cass Burton, that's how you find me. And then Twitter and Instagram at What Cass Read. Same as this channel, all one word, super easy to find, so you can find me on there and we can have a conversation about the big books that we've read. You guys know how these videos end. I'll talk to you later. Bye.